Long before humans learned how to write words or record history or pass knowledge through books, there were symbols carved into stone, painted on cave walls, pressed into clay, and etched into the earth itself. These symbols appeared before alphabets, before numbers, before organized religion, and before nations existed. And yet today, thousands of years later, they still remain visible, silent and unexplained, scattered across the world, in places that should never be connected. And the most disturbing part is not that these symbols exist, but that the same symbols appear again and again across different continents, across different cultures, and across different time periods, with no clear evidence that these people ever met or shared knowledge. And yet somehow they left behind the same marks, the same shapes, and the same strange signs, as if humanity was speaking one silent language long before we learned how to speak out loud. Archaeologists once believed these symbols were decorations or random drawings, made by early humans with no deeper meaning. But as discoveries increased, that explanation became harder to defend, because symbols are not random. A symbol is a decision. A symbol is intentional. It is a way of storing meaning beyond spoken language. And ancient humans carved these symbols in places that required effort, danger, and planning, which tells us one thing clearly: these marks mattered. One of the most common symbols found across the world is the spiral. It appears carved into stone monuments in Ireland, thousands of years old. It appears painted in ancient caves in Europe. It appears etched into rocks in the Americas. And it appears in ancient Asian art. The spiral is simple yet powerful, a line that curves inward or outward endlessly. And what makes this symbol strange is not just how often it appears, but where it appears. Spirals are commonly found in burial sites, sacred grounds, and ceremonial locations. Many are aligned with the sun, moon, or seasonal cycles, suggesting they were connected to time, life, and death. But no, ancient writing explains what the spiral meant. Some believe it represented the cycle of life, birth, death, and rebirth. Others believe it represented the movement of the sun or stars, and some believe it represented the human journey itself. Yet, no matter the theory, the question remains: how did cultures separated by oceans all arrive at the same symbol with similar meaning? Another powerful symbol found across the world is the handprint in caves across Europe, South America, Asia, and Australia. Ancient humans left behind handprints pressed into stone walls. Some were made by placing the hand against the wall and blowing pigment around it. Others were painted directly, and many are missing fingers or show unusual shapes. These handprints were often placed in hard-to-reach locations deep inside caves, far from natural light, which suggests they were not casual marks, but deliberate acts. Some researchers believe they were signatures, messages saying, "I was here." Others believe they were part of rituals or ceremonies, and some believe they were warnings or protective symbols. But again, no clear explanation exists, and the same handprints appear across continents that should have had no contact. Another symbol that repeats across cultures is the eye. Eyes appear carved into stone, painted on walls, and built into ancient structures, from Egypt to South America to Asia. Often, the eye is shown watching, protecting, or judging, and is commonly associated with power, death, or the afterlife. Many cultures believed the eye could see beyond the physical world into the spiritual realm. But why did so many civilizations independently choose the eye as a symbol of awareness and control? What were they watching, and what did they believe was watching them? Then there is the serpent, one of the most universal symbols in human history. Snakes appear in myths, carvings, and symbols across almost every culture. Sometimes feared, sometimes worshipped, sometimes both. In some cultures, the serpent represents wisdom, In others danger, in others creation itself. Some ancient carvings show serpents not as animals, but as flowing abstract shapes, twisting through space, which suggests they may have represented energy movement or transformation rather than literal snakes. How did humans across the world all assign such deep meaning to the same creature? Another symbol that appears again and again is the cross shape. Long before modern religion, the cross appeared as a simple geometric symbol in ancient cultures representing balance, the four directions, or the sun. It appears carved into rocks, painted in caves, and built into ancient designs thousands of years before. Religious meaning was attached to it, which raises an important question. Did the symbol come first and the belief later, or was there an older meaning that has been lost entirely across deserts, mountains, and plains? Humans carved massive symbols into the earth itself, known as geoglyphs. The most famous are the Nazca lines in Peru, enormous shapes of animals. Lines and geometric patterns that can only be fully seen from the sky. But similar earth symbols exist in North America, Australia, Africa, and Central Asia. Some depict animals, some depict abstract shapes, and some appear to align with stars or celestial events. Why would ancient people create symbols so large they could not see from the ground? Who were they meant for, and how did they plan them with such precision? Another mysterious symbol found in ancient caves is the dots appear in rows, clusters, and patterns alongside animals' handprints and abstract shapes. Some researchers believe they were early forms of counting, others believe they represent stars or maps, and some believe they marked time cycles, but no explanation fits all cases. What is clear is that dots are one of the earliest forms of symbolic communication. Simple, universal, and powerful. Perhaps the most unsettling symbols are humanoid figures with strange proportions, large eyes, elongated bodies, and non-human features found in ancient art across different continents. Some are labeled gods, spirits, or ancestors, but many do not resemble humans at all. And yet, they appear repeatedly across cultures separated by vast distances where these symbolic representations of ideas or depictions of beings ancient humans believed were real. Another symbol found worldwide is the ladder or stair shape, often representing movement between worlds, earth and sky, life and death, physical and spiritual realms. These ladder symbols appear in carvings, myths, and art, often connected to journeys, transformation, or divine contact. The same idea repeated again and again across cultures, suggesting a shared belief that existence was layered, not flat. What makes these symbols even more mysterious is where they are found. Many appear in remote, dangerous, or hidden locations. Deep caves, high cliffs, underground chambers, and isolated landscapes. These were not casual drawings, but intentional placements. Some symbols are found in places where sound behaves strangely, where echoes, vibrations, and acoustics create unusual experiences, leading some researchers to believe symbols were connected to rituals involving sound chanting or altered states of consciousness, meaning the symbols were not just meant to be seen, but felt over time. Languages changed, civilizations collapsed, and knowledge was lost, but the symbols remained silent and waiting. Modern science tries to explain them through psychology, suggesting humans share common thought patterns, or through nature, suggesting humans copied what they saw in the sky or environment, but none of these explanations fully answer why the same symbols appear with similar meaning across disconnected cultures. Some theories suggest ancient humans shared knowledge through migration long before we realized. Others suggest symbols were messages meant to last beyond language, messages sent not across space, but across time, reminders, warnings, or records meant for future humans. Symbols do not need translation to create emotion. They trigger fear, curiosity, comfort, or awe without words, which is why they survive when languages disappear. And that is why these ancient symbols still affect us today when we see them. Something feels familiar, even if we do not understand why. Perhaps the symbols were warnings. Perhaps they were maps. Perhaps they were prayers or attempts to explain a world humans did not yet control. Or perhaps they were reminders that humans have always searched for meaning beyond survival. That long before technology, humans were already asking questions about existence, the universe and their place within it, and they left symbols behind, hoping someone would understand. Today, satellites scan the Earth, archaeologists dig deeper, and new symbols continue to be discovered. And with every discovery, the mystery grows, because no matter how advanced we become, we are still trying to understand the same marks carved into stone by people who lived thousands of years before us. The past is speaking, the symbols are still here, and the final question remains. If these symbols were meant to tell us something, have we forgotten how to listen?